Welcome back. We're here. Fall has finally hit. It's a little cool out. We're all wearing our coats. Except for Teresa, she's not wearing her coat yet. But we're very happy to be with you to continue our reflections. I mentioned at one of the Masses this weekend that, wow, it's almost Advent already. And it's true. We're really getting close to Advent. We got 5 more weeks. So we're here to begin our reflection and to continue our reflections with the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Teresa, go ahead.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up. Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way. Your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So this reading is the most common reading for me to do with the sick. It's just developed that way. I open up my book whenever I'm visiting people in the hospital or in their homes or wherever it is, and I almost always I open it to this reading. I say, maybe I'll try something new, and I never do. It's such a wonderful reading, and it's very simple. It's not complicated, and that's the reason I like it so much for a hospital. Because Jesus coming up to somebody and saying, "What do you want me to do for you?" and us answering is so simple of a prayer that no one ever does it. It's too easy. We tend to get very complicated with our prayers. And it's a cultural thing too, because you'll find that prayers from different places in the world are shorter. Some of them are very succinct. Some of them are very brief. Some of them go on for days. And you see even throughout history, if you study the rites of the church, a varying degree depending on where in the world the prayer was written and perhaps when, how much is said. But in its simplicity, this gives us a wonderfully easy way to stay in prayerful communion with Jesus. If we put ourselves in the story and we say, what would I say if Jesus were to come up to me and say, "What do you want me to do for you?" What blindness would I ask him to touch in me, or what need would I do? And that's the prayer I often give when we're dealing with sickness and in the hospital. And because your mind is preoccupied and people are worried, and that's just a simple way, and it's fast. You can go to it and kind of do it very, very quickly. Not that you can't say other prayers, but oftentimes when I'm in the hospital, I find that counsel to be very positive, just to keep it very simple. Because a lot is going on, it's very stressful. And that encounter with Jesus saying, "What do you want me to do for you?" is so basic. Now, having said that, there's another part of this that I think is worthy of reflection. And that is that he jumped up, threw off his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus or something like that, right? And it's so great because here he is, he's waiting for Jesus. He's calling out to him. And he's using a title of respect that may or may not be the most proper one, Son of David. But it's just this great earnestness in Bartimaeus that he knows that Jesus can heal him. He knows his own suffering. He knows what he's going to ask for. And he knows that Jesus can supply the answer to his prayer. But he springs up. Now, the question is would we do that? It's so hard for us sometimes, especially as we get older, to get out. We get stuck. We get used to perhaps our blindness. And that's a question that I would offer you us, any of us, to be challenged with as we consider this reading is, would we have jumped up? Would we have sprang up? Would we have rather said, after all, this blindness is part of me. I'm used to it. There's a strange saying, and it's actually one I don't like very much, but Fulton Sheen said it, so I'll say it too. And it's the saying. They always laugh at me, but the saying is, the dog goes back to its vomit, and it's so gross. But the idea is that we get used to the things that are bad for us. We get used to the things that are problems for us. We get used to our problems to the point even that we don't want them to go away. And that's an interesting point of reflection. We have to ask ourselves, what is it? Is there a part of me that, given an opportunity to give up my problems, is afraid to do so? Would we rather have not asked Jesus to help us be healed? That's really the simple beauty of Bartimaeus, is that he's so excited. He's so ready to have his blindness healed. And I in my own life, have a good half dozen things that are on top of my head that I ought to just get over and let go. But I don't have the earnest spring in my step that Bartimaeus has, that we should all try to work on having, and asking God for the grace. When I do encounter you, Lord, give me the grace to jump up, to spring up in excitement, to ask you to heal me, and have an earnest answer to that prayer. So the first part of this reflection, I said, make sure that you keep this idea of prayer. Use it as an example of prayer. Have an answer. God, I want to see when Jesus asks you, what do you want me to do for you? And play that through in your mind. What would you ask him? And then, do you have the courage to ask Jesus to be healed in the ways that you know you need? Help, Lord, break down my resistances. Help break through that part of me that's attached to those things that are bad for me. Even if it's something as simple as this earthly life, help me to break through. More and more often, I have people coming up to me saying, I'm upset about this, and this. And you have to ask yourself, 100 years ago, we wouldn't have had TV or the internet. We wouldn't even know about this, and this. And what would you be unhappy about then? What would be the difference? So more and more, increasingly, people are saying simple ways of living. How many videos do I come across on YouTube that are about off-grid living? Partly because I need to learn how to build things and have a curiosity about that. But it seems like there is some vague current moving in us that we desire a simplification of our lives, that are of the availability of information to us and our ability to be connected has not created in our lives true connection, and has not given us truth, even as it gives us knowledge perhaps, or has its virtues as well. So evaluate those things. Look at those things in your life that are keeping you from holiness, that are making you blind, that are keeping you stuck, and ask God for the earnest desire to have those things removed, so that we may see as Bartimaeus learned to see and was healed to see. So we offer you that this week. I'm very happy we have a very large group for faith formation that we just got started this week, so very happy about that. Confirmation group seems to be a very wonderful group of young people, and our youth group was large last night as we kicked off these things. So we have wonderful things happening in the parish here today. So my hope and prayer for you all everywhere, wherever you're watching these, is that God is equally as moving and active in your life to make you rich and flourishing too. So enjoy these beautiful days of the fall, and may God continue to bless you. Thanks.